Hi, this video is about powder diffraction and the whole sphere and an example with square lattice. I did another video very similar to this one, but it was I was using a configuration that is not that used commonly in books, in textbooks, so I decided to do it again with that configuration. You will see it's not very different, it's very similar, just a change in origin of the reciprocal lattice and how we draw the k-vectors. So I will put actually this first video that I did at the end of this one. I put the link and you can compare. So, and I will explain in the first slide, next slide, the difference. Okay, so again, this video is to understand the whole sphere, powder diffraction, and also this is a question I have sometimes from students, is why powder diffraction does not produce peaks at all angles, because powder include all possible orientations of the crystal, so why don't we have peaks everywhere? So in fact, just many peaks everywhere, no single, not a discrete set of peaks. Okay, so what we need to know before we start is the reciprocal lattice and the Laue condition. Okay, so this was how I explained this in the first video. So it's about the choice of lattice origin. So in this case, it is the center of the sample. So let's say this is the sample, and we have the center of the lattice, of the direct lattice, let's say at the center of the sample, which makes sense because the lattice is in the sample. So we can choose the origin of the lattice in the sample. And then we can say that the origin of the reciprocal lattice is the same as the origin of the direct lattice, and plot the reciprocal lattice in this way. So this is in fact the reciprocal lattice. So we can explain then powder diffraction using this configuration. And K, the incident wave, can be represented from the origin of the reciprocal lattice, like this. So I do this in this video. However, in fact, in most textbooks, another convention is used. So maybe this was confusing for some people. So I decided to do this video with the usual representation, at least when the whole sphere is explained. So let's see. This is what is used in this video. So here the choice of lattice origin is the tip of the incident wave vector k. So it is this one. We will use this as the origin of the reciprocal lattice. Okay, so we still have our sample here, but the center is not at the lattice point. Okay, so let's go. Let's first look at the single crystal. So we have our reciprocal lattice. This is the Laue condition. So this is the incident wave vector. This is a scattered wave vector, and this is a reciprocal lattice vector when we have constructive interference. Okay, so we have here our k vector. So in fact, the direction of the diffraction will be represented by k prime. It's a vector, it represents the direction of the constructive interference. Okay, so where can k prime be? One very important condition is that we have here elastic scattering, which means that k equal k prime. Okay, in magnitude. So we start from this, not from the origin. We start from here because we are now, so in this case it makes more sense to put k and k prime, the origin of the vectors k and k prime, on the sample, because these electromagnetic waves, X-rays, they hit the target, the sample, and then it's scattered from the sample. So it makes some kind of sense to use this configuration. At least it is closer to the experimental configuration compared to the first video I made, which was more less related to the experimental setup. Alright, so k equal k prime, therefore the tip of k prime must be on this circle, and this would be a sphere in 3 dimensions, and this is called the Ewald sphere. Alright, so we must fulfill this condition. So k prime minus k must be a reciprocal lattice vector if we want to have constructive interference. So because this point is already a reciprocal lattice point, we need this tip to be also a reciprocal lattice point, because G, this vector, is a reciprocal lattice vector. Alright. Okay, so we see that in this particular condition there is no lattice point, a reciprocal lattice point on the sphere, at least on this circle. Therefore there is no peak. We cannot observe any diffraction peaks in this case. So what could we do if we want still to observe some diffraction peaks? Well, one of the most used technique is to use a powder. Why use a powder? Because in fact a powder represents a set of randomly oriented crystal planes, because you have all the orientations in a powder. Okay, so what happens in fact? Okay, we'll see that in the next. This reciprocal lattice will be rotated. This is what happens. Okay, so let's see first. Let's name a few points here. So this is the origin, our origin. So this is the point 1, 0 in the reciprocal lattice. Okay, we have the 1, 1 here, so it means 1, 1. Okay, this one will be 1, 2. So 1, 2, etc. So 1, 3. This is a 2, 0. So 1, 2, 1, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, etc. And this is a 3, 0. Okay, so when we have a powder, in fact all these reciprocal lattice will be rotated, and we will have lines, and our effective reciprocal lattice will be made of lines, in fact of circles, and of course rotated about this point 0. Let's see. So we have our vector k. Okay, so the 1, 0, which was here, is now rotated. So okay, we have our reciprocal lattice is now rotated, so we have lines instead of points. Alright, so we can see, just comments here, we have 4 points here on this circle. In fact, it comes from the fact that the 1, 1 direction here is equivalent to the -1, 1 direction. It's equivalent, also equivalent to this direction, to this direction. So these are equivalent points, and in fact it's related to the multiplicity. Okay, for multiplicity, please look at I have one video explaining the little bit the amplitude of diffraction, and I also briefly mentioned the multiplicity. Alright, so we can do that for many points. Of course, the all points will be rotated about the origin here, but we show only a small set of them. Alright, so remember Laue condition. So do we have diffraction peaks this time? Okay, let's draw the Ewald sphere. So remember, to have interference we need to have intersection of the reciprocal lattice with this sphere, and we do have this time intersection points. So looking at the the smallest circle here, we have intersection at this point for the 1, 0 direction. Okay, so in fact K prime will be here. Okay, so okay, K prime will be here, and G 1, 0 will be this. So this is a reciprocity vector for this, in fact, reciprocity made of lines. Alright, so why is it this vector? Because if you do a K prime minus K, it goes, so K prime minus K, it goes there. But in fact this vector is parallel to this one. In fact, you could start here. So this problem was not appearing actually in the first video. It was working from the origin. Here if you start here actually, so you go first K prime. K prime will lead you somewhere here, and then minus K will lead you here. So this is indeed your G reciprocity vector for the 1, 0 plane. Alright, and so you will have a peak in this direction originating from the sample in this direction. And this is the angle one corresponding to that peak, so it's 2 theta. Okay, and so yes, so in so you will also have, in fact there is another intersection here. So in that case you will have another vector here, and this will come here on the screen. And because in 3 dimensions you have also symmetry about this axis, rotational symmetry here. So what you will get is in fact a ring in 3 dimensions, right? And this is called the Biot-Schur ring. So this is an illustration actually in 3 dimensions. So this is one of these rings, and if you put a kind of film, this was the old type setup, you would record this thing on the photographic film, and here. Alright, so this is how it works. So we can have a look at the next 2, 0, for example. So 2, 0 will intersect here. Alright, so you will have your K prime here and your G 1, 1 here. Okay, and this is your angle theta 1, 1. Okay, we can continue with 2, 0. So this one K prime G 2, 0, and this is the direction for this diffraction peak. Let's pick the 1, 3 circle. So in that case your K prime is like this, and your G 1, 3 like that, and in fact it is now some kind of backscattering. Okay, it is not in the same direction as it's at the K vector. It's a kind of reflection. Alright, so now if we look at all the peaks that can be observed using this wavelength, so represented by this vector K, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 peaks. Okay, and only 8 peaks, and these are discrete directions, so giving discrete angles. So we do not have diffraction peaks all over the place, everywhere. Okay, and so if you want more peaks, what do? Well, we need to increase the radius of that whole sphere, obviously. So we will be able to intersect with all the circles made by other points. So just increase K, that is decrease your wavelength of the X-ray. Okay, thank you. I hope the first video was not confusing, but anyway it is the same principle explained in just a slightly different way. So thank you for your attention.